He just wanted some quiet footage of the harbor. That's all Matto was after. A peaceful morning with his camera, capturing the early stillness of the sea for a personal video project. Before we continue, please take some time to subscribe to Dailydose, like, and share this video. But what he recorded that day would not only change his life, but eventually help bring down one of the largest illegal fishing rings the coast had ever seen. At first, nothing seemed out of the ordinary, just a fishing boat moored quietly at the dock and a few sleepy fishermen preparing for the day. But then, something strange caught his eye in the water. It was small, brown, and floating just beneath the surface. Matto squinted through his camera lens, unable to make out what it was. Curious, he zoomed in, trying to capture a better view of the mysterious object. The harbor was calm, and nothing about the scene indicated danger, but that odd shape in the water pulled at his instincts. Still unaware of the chaos about to unfold, he focused his lens and kept filming. That's when he heard it, a loud bang. Startled, he looked up and saw the fishermen on the nearby boat react with confusion. The boat shifted unexpectedly, rocking in the calm water as if something beneath it had just struck the hull. The once sleepy crew now scrambled to secure themselves, gripping the railings and shouting over the sudden disturbance. Matto's heart raced. He turned the camera back to the water, and what he saw made his stomach drop. The brown blob had grown in size, massively. What was once a small, barely visible lump in the water was now several feet long and rising fast. As the water began to churn and bubble around it, Matto and the fishermen could only watch in stunned silence. Something enormous was rising from the depths. The strange creature, because by now it was clear this wasn't debris, emerged slowly and ominously, revealing a spine-lined back and mottled brown skin with lighter patches. It was unlike anything they had ever seen. The fishermen, some with decades of experience at sea, were visibly shaken. Not one of them recognized the creature now circling their boat. The water's surface broke further as the full size of the animal became clear. It was at least 60 feet long. Matto kept filming, his hands trembling, knowing he was capturing something truly extraordinary. The creature wasn't acting aggressively, but its massive presence alone was enough to instill fear. It moved slowly, circling the boat with an unsettling calm. One of the fishermen shouted to start the engine. They had to get out of there. But just as the engine roared to life, Matto noticed something strange. The creature didn't retreat like a normal sea animal would. In fact, it didn't react at all. Its tail wasn't moving. Its body floated without effort, eerily still, even as the waves lapped around it. That's when Matto called out to stop the engine. He waved his arms, yelling to the fishermen to wait. "Something's not right," he shouted. "Turn off the motor." The lead fisherman, puzzled but concerned, ordered the engine shut down, and the group turned their attention back to the creature. Matto explained what he'd noticed. Its tail wasn't moving naturally, not swaying like a fish or propelling like a whale. It was completely still, and yet the body was drifting forward. That's when Matto pulled out a tool he rarely used, his extendable selfie stick. Attaching his waterproof camera to it, he slowly lowered it into the water to get a closer view beneath the surface. What he recorded confirmed his worst fear. As he pulled the camera back and reviewed the footage, his face drained of color. He ran toward the boat, camera in hand, waving for the fishermen to help him aboard. Once on deck, he showed them the video. Beneath the surface, the footage revealed the horrific truth. The creature wasn't alive. It was a whale, a young sperm whale, and it was dead. Its body was being moved not by muscle or will, but by trapped gases causing it to float unnaturally. But that wasn't the worst of it. The whale's underside was torn apart. Massive wounds, gashes, and shattered bone exposed the true cause of death. An explosion. The captain of the fishing vessel, a man named Diego, confirmed Matto's fears. The whale hadn't died from natural causes. It had been blown apart by something. The spikes on its back were splintered bone. The discolored skin was a result of trauma. and the sonar vibrations that had been confusing local fishermen for months, it all suddenly made sense. "There have been rumors," Captain Diego said grimly. "Rumors of illegal fishermen using underwater explosives to kill fish and harvest massive hauls. It's a fast way to make money, but it destroys everything in its path." Now, standing over the massive, deformed carcass of a creature that should have been roaming the deep seas, Matto and the crew understood what they were looking at, not just a dead whale, but evidence. Hard proof of environmental destruction. Captain Diego's crew sprang into action. With practiced precision, they worked together to hoist the whale onto the deck. The creature's sheer size made the task monumental, but the crew knew they had to act fast. Time was critical. If the currents took the body back out to sea, they might lose the only concrete evidence they had. As the whale's battered form settled onto the deck, a heavy silence fell over everyone. The damage was worse than they thought. Chunks of its lower body were completely missing, its ribs exposed like broken shards. Matto stood frozen, filming the horrific sight. But his role was no longer just that of an observer. His footage could now become the turning point in a much bigger story. The crew confirmed that they had all experienced unusual sonar spikes recently, especially farther out to sea. These were always accompanied by subtle tremors in the water. Until now, they had no explanation. But this dead whale changed everything. It confirmed the dark rumors whispered in fishing communities for months. Someone was using illegal underwater explosives to harvest fish, regardless of the collateral damage. Diego looked Matto in the eyes. "You've captured something important," he said quietly. "With your help, we might be able to stop this." With that, the crew turned the ship toward open water, determined to catch the culprits. Matto, still overwhelmed but resolute, called the authorities using the boat's satellite phone. Within half an hour, police boats met them at sea, bringing officers ready to investigate. As Matto and Diego shared what they knew, something else happened. The sonar picked up another massive vibration nearby. A second explosion. Waves rose in the distance, followed by a thick mist and a strange plume of water. The entire team locked eyes. This was their chance. Diego shouted orders, and both vessels raced toward the source of the blast. As they approached, the water changed. Dead fish floated to the surface by the hundreds. Coral fragments, shredded and pale, bobbed beside them. It was a heartbreaking sight. An ecosystem violently torn apart. But they were getting close. Matto zoomed in with his camera and spotted something. A boat, large, rusty, and too far from shore to be anything but suspicious. "That's them," Diego confirmed. "No one fishes out this far unless they're hiding something." As they neared the vessel, police officers boarded first. Matto stayed behind, filming everything, but he didn't stay on the sidelines for long. The officers asked him to document the inspection. With his camera rolling, they descended into the hold of the illegal boat, discovering crates upon crates of fish, far too many to have been caught legally. Even worse, hidden compartments revealed the tools of their destruction: waterproof explosive charges, detonators, and sonar blockers. The fishermen on the boat tried to deny everything, but the evidence was undeniable. The footage Matto had captured of the whale, the floating dead fish, and now the explosives, it all painted a devastatingly clear picture. Days later, in court, the men sat handcuffed in orange jumpsuits. Matto, once just a civilian with a hobby, was now a key witness. His footage was shown to the judge, frame by frame, telling a story more powerful than any testimony. From the first glimpse of the strange object in the harbor to the close-up of explosives in the hidden compartments, it was a full narrative of destruction, greed, and recklessness. The judge looked straight at the accused. "Your actions have caused irreparable damage to marine life," he said sternly. "This court finds you guilty." The criminals were sentenced to the maximum penalty, 15 years in prison and a massive fine for environmental destruction. The decision sent shockwaves through the fishing industry and made headlines across the country. And Matto? He became a symbol of citizen action. His name appeared in news articles, his footage was shown at environmental conferences, and he was invited to speak at coastal conservation events. He always said the same thing: "I didn't mean to be a hero, I just didn't look away." The incident sparked sweeping changes along the coast. New sonar monitoring systems were installed, fishing regulations were tightened, patrols increased, and best of all, communities banded together to protect the waters they relied on. Mattow's camera captured more than just images. It captured a movement. And it all began with a quiet morning, a mysterious shape in the water, and the decision to hit record.